Hello friends, this is Ashirvad here. In this video we will continue with our C++ basics series, and the rest of the tokens that we were discussing in the previous video, we will continue with that. So let's begin. The first thing that we are going to discuss today is keywords. Okay, we often use this term while we are writing programs. Okay, so it's very simple thing to understand that all these things which are keywords cannot be used for any other purpose, okay, other than the purpose for which they are made. Okay, for example, if you remember int, it's a data type and that is its purpose. So if you declare, or if you want to declare a variable with the name int, you simply cannot. Okay, so this is what is called keywords. So it was quite simple. There are many keywords in C++, but you have to remember only one thing about them, that they are reserved for a purpose, and other than that purpose they cannot be used. The next token is called literals, and whenever we are discussing about literals, you have to keep only one thing in mind, that literals means nothing but values. Okay, so it will simplify things for you, I believe. So I have written 4 different types of values here. I have written a name here, Raj Sharma. Okay, this type of value is called string value. Okay, because it contains a number of characters in it. So whenever you have a string type of value like this, you must enclose it inside double quotation marks, as you can see. So this is the rule, okay, for a string type of value. And whenever you have a floating point number like this, 123.12, you are not going to enclose it inside either single or double quotes ever, if you want to treat this value as a number, as a numeric value. Okay, so keep it in mind. Same goes for integer value. Don't enclose integer values inside single or double quotes if you want to treat them as numbers by nature. Okay, now as far as single character is concerned, you must enclose these values inside single quotation marks, as you can see here. This type of thing we have also seen when we were discussing data types in the previous lecture, so I guess you remember that. So these are called literals because all the 4 things I have written here are values. Okay, so how do we assign them? As you can see, a is equal to 1000, then 1000 is a literal, a is a variable. Okay, b is equal to Raj Sharma, of course it's written in double quotation marks because it is a string type of value. Okay, and if you want to store a single character, you have to enclose it in single quotes and you have to write it like this. And if you want to store a decimal point number like this, you have to write, okay, you have to write it like this. So depending on the type of value or type of literal, they are given names. Okay, so for example, in this case, Raj Sharma, okay, it's called string literal because it's a string type of value. X is called character literal because it's a character type of value. 123.12 is called floating literal, or simply float literal, that will sound better, because it's a decimal point number. And integer value is called integer literal. So I hope the literal thing is quite easily understood. Okay, now moving on, the next token is called punctuators. These are just symbols that you use for separating things. Okay, so it's that simple. We use rounded brackets, curly brackets, square brackets, semicolon sign, comma, dot and colon sign. These are called punctuators, so quite easy. Okay, now one punctuator we would like to discuss here is semicolon. As you can see in these examples, I have put semicolons after every C++ line, after every statement. Okay, so it's just to end this particular line. So we are separating this line with this line, that is why we are using this separator or simply punctuator. Okay, so this way we can use the other punctuators. You will understand them as we go along. Okay, so moving on. Okay, operators. Now this is the most important token that you should understand. Okay, now operators, what are operators actually? Okay, the simplest definition can be this: operators operate on operand. Okay, now just look at this example. There is a variable a containing value 100, there is a variable b containing value 200, and we have written a C++ statement as c is equal to a plus b. Now what is happening here is quite clear to you, I believe. A and b, their values are being added, and whatever result we get here will be assigned to C or will be stored in C. Okay, so how many operators you can observe here? This plus sign is an operator and A and B are its operands. Okay, remember that. So this plus sign is working on these two operands. Similarly, this equal to sign is also an operator, so it is operating on this C operand, and whatever value you get here, that is also an operand for the equal to operator. So I believe this thing is quite clear to you. Now you can read out all these things I have written here. Okay, you will get the actual meaning. So you can pause the video for a minute. You can just read out these things if you want for better understanding. Now the most important thing about operators is that they are of two types: unary operators and binary operators. Unary operators operate on one operand that we have not seen anywhere yet. Okay, we'll come on it. And binary operator operates on two operands. Okay, so as you can see in this example, this plus sign is a unary operator or binary operator. It's a binary operator because it is operating on two operands A and B. Similarly, this equal to sign is also a binary operator, guys, because it is operating on C as well as whatever you get here. Okay, so this is what is the types of operators. Now we have divided the operators into three categories. So first of the categories is called arithmetic operators. Now this is quite simple to understand. All the arithmetic operations that we want to perform in our program will be using these arithmetic operators. Okay, so for addition we use plus, dash sign or hyphen sign, simply you can say, we use for subtraction. Star sign or asterisk sign we use for multiplication, and division sign or slash we use, this is actually this forward slash sign we use for division. One interesting operator we have in this category is this. Do not call it percentage or percentile, it's called modulus operator technically. Okay, and what it does is it divides two numbers and gives you the remainder. Okay, so for example, if I have shown it in this example, just take a look at this. I have a variable I having value 10, I have a variable j having value 2, I have a variable k having value, what is the value of k? The division of I and j. Okay, so I will be divided by j, that is 10 will be divided by 2, and what value we get here. Now since we are using this division operator, okay, it is going to give us quotient, fine, which is 10 by 2 is 5. Okay, so 5 is what we are going to get here. But in the second situation, what I have done is I have used this modulus operator. So 10 will be divided by 2, and instead of getting quotient in C, okay, we will be getting remainder, which is what? 10 divided by 2, remainder is 0, because 10 is fully divisible by 2. So this is what I have written here. So I hope you have understood the concept well of this modulus operator. The next thing, there are some important things that you should have clear understanding of. Okay, just observe it carefully. I have written a statement like this. Okay, int a is equal to 5 divided by 2. Okay, now what it gives is 2. Okay, 2 is the answer of this calculation, although mathematically if we say it is 2.5, but here we have to understand a concept that says the division of two integer numbers will always give integer result. Always remember that. So what is happening here is 5 is an integer, 2 is an integer. Okay, how can we say it's an integer? It has no decimal point. Similarly, 2 has no decimal point. If we had written something like this, then this is no longer integer. Okay, so this 5 is an integer. So when 5 is divided by 2, the answer is 2.5 of course, but that 0.5 is simply discarded, simply will not be considered, and the integer portion of this result, which is 2, will be given to a, will be stored in a. So we can say after this statement the value of a will be 2 and not 2.5. So this is one thing that you should remember. Okay, now here the data type was int. Many people get confused with this. They think of this type of statement like this, that since the data type is int, the answer is going to be int. Okay, that is true up to some extent, but in this case, okay, I have changed the data type from int to double. Now should it store 2.5 because double can store decimal point numbers? Well, the answer is simply no. Okay, again the concept, same concept comes here, that whenever an integer is divided by integer, the answer will always be an integer, no matter what is the data type of the target variable is. Okay, so again you get what value you get here, 2. Okay, and then that 2 will be assigned to this a, which is ultimately 2.0 or simply 2. So just remember this concept. Okay, talking about modulus operator, there is one interesting thing, that whenever a smaller number is divided by a larger number, the remainder will be that smaller number itself. As you can see in this example, 2 modulus 5, what we are going to get is, as the result of this calculation, is 2, because 2 is the smaller number. So this is another thing that you should remember while using modulus operator. There is third interesting thing, that you can use shorthand notation technique while dealing with these calculation statements. Okay, so like if you want to write a is equal to a plus 10, okay, what it means is you are going to increment the value of a by 10. Okay, so you can do the same thing by writing it like this. Okay, a plus equal to 10. Now plus equal to is an operator, remember. Okay, so what it does is it will add 10 to a and the value will be stored in a itself. So for example, initially the value of a is 100. Okay, after executing this line it will be 110. Okay, so same way you can use minus equal to, you can use into equal to, divide equal to, you can even use modulus equal to, and you can also use another variable. Okay, like I have used b here to implement this. Okay, so you will get used to with this shorthand notation as you go along with writing programs on your own. Okay, remember guys, writing programs is the best practice you can do to get command on any language. Okay, so moving on, the second operator in this category, in the operators category, is called a relational operators. Now this is very simple to understand. What they do is they give us either true or false, the relational operators. Okay, by comparing two values. So what is the definition? Relational operators compare two values and give the result in the form of true or false. Okay, so I have written all the relational operators with their formats here. You can simply see this is greater than operator, it's a relational operator, it's called greater than, it is used like this, x greater than y. So it will give us true if x is greater than y, otherwise it will give us false. So same way you can see all these things. We have greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, and so on. Two relational operators we have to discuss. One is called comparison operator. Okay, it is denoted by double equal to sign. Okay, and there is no space in between. Okay, this is called comparison operator, and as the name tells, it compares two values or values of two variables. So like this, in this example, I am comparing whether x is equal to y or not. So obviously I will be getting answer in the form of either true or false. So when will I be getting true answer? When x is equal to y. Okay, and when I am not when they are not equal to each other, I will simply get false. Okay, so this is comparison operator. The last of the relational operators is called not equal to, and it is written like this. Okay, and it is used like this. So what it does is it compares for whether two variables or values of two variables are not equal or not. What it means is it will give us true if they are not equal, and it will give us false if they are equal. Okay, so that is exactly what I have written here. Fine. So I hope you have understood the general meaning of these operators. Okay, relational operators. Okay, and what was the first category? The arithmetic operators. We have the third category called logical operators that we will be covering up in the upcoming video. So I hope all the concepts are clear to you. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe. Okay, thank you.